have had the privilege of meeting and working with many entrepreneurs in my current role as a venture capitalist. I'll just say it. I really respect their courage to give up a comfortable life just in an attempt to build something out of nothing. At least for how I personally see it. They are quite literally betting their own lives on this dream project that they have. It's no easy feat, so seriously, power to them. And just like any other company, every startup will face their own share of problems and storms. Some are minor, some existential, especially with the current investment climate. So based on what I've been fortunate enough to have witnessed, there are actually quite a number of things I would say that these entrepreneurs have taught me, and I would just love to share about them in this video. And all these learning takeaways actually relate to a specific mindset or perspective that I believe is starting to become more of a necessity rather than a luxury in this day and age. And this mindset is basically entrepreneurial thinking. Hey friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Bianca, and today I would like to talk a bit about why I believe that entrepreneurial thinking is becoming a necessity in this day and age. We probably don't need any reminders on how COVID-19 has profoundly changed our societies and economies. From school closures to devastated industries or even the widening social inequalities pretty much everywhere, the pandemic's cause is pretty much many and varied. I mean, it has been pretty much a really challenging 2 years for everyone. But to my genuine surprise, some of these entrepreneurs in their companies have actually emerged stronger than before because of the pandemic and its challenges, not despite them. And one of the most amazing things I have seen from these entrepreneurs was their ability to just adapt quickly to the crisis, take the necessary initiatives, collaborate, and just all of which to help them navigate better through this entire madness. To me, these methods of responding to the pandemic are just simply parts of the entrepreneurial thinking process. So, as the world changes, so do the skills we need to thrive in such a dynamic environment in order to build a much better society. And here's the thing about me. So, okay, call me stubborn, but I personally don't believe in the whole conventional wisdom that only a select few will be born with skills to think entrepreneurially. Neither do I buy into this idea that there's only this certain group of people who are capable enough to come up with truly great ideas to save the world. Like, no, not buying into that. Why do I say so? Well, let's just put it this way. Entrepreneurial thinking isn't exclusively all about just building businesses and making money. Instead, I would actually argue that it is more of a mindset that anyone can quite literally adopt if they wanted to. In other words, you don't have to start a company if you want to start thinking entrepreneurially. The general philosophy here, rather, is value creation. So this means looking at the world and just considering, hey, is there a better way of doing things? Or, okay, if the situation is really, really bad, then you might want to just consider thinking, there has to be a better way of doing this. And when you see an opportunity come by, you would just jump right in and try to find a way to create a solution rather than just sit around and wait for someone else to do the job. To put it simply, entrepreneurial thinking is all about trying to imagine what things could be like and trying to figure out a way to make that vision come true. And to do that, part of the process is for you to determine what sort of practical skills you need to develop to help you set and achieve those goals, overcome setbacks, and maximize all the opportunities in a variety of settings. And why do I think that our world needs more entrepreneurial thinkers? Well, first of all, I do notice that many people tend to look to entrepreneurship to provide job creation, money, and market efficiency. But in reality, there's actually so much more to that. Entrepreneurial thinking is fundamentally all about learning how you could acquire knowledge, followed by finding ways to extract value out of that knowledge. Whether it is economic, social, artistic, it really doesn't matter. The keyword here is value. And I would say that it is just such a crucial mindset to consider adopting, because the harsh reality about our world today is that it is flawed in so many ways. But the bright side is that this means there's actually still a lot of ways that we could still contribute to make a positive change. And with more entrepreneurial thinkers, this may mean that we could get new ideas for the future, or even solutions to some of our world's oldest and most pressing problems. And as I took some time to just study a few notable entrepreneurs in an attempt to just figure out, okay, what actually separates them from the others? Okay, well, besides their socioeconomic background, unfair advantages, etc., one of the most important traits that I learned from them is their ability to find opportunities in what people view as problems. Because in today's world, I'm pretty sure we have all heard it. Retrenchments are happening, a recession is coming, the economy is going downhill. These are admittedly really tough times. And even though complaining and taking some time to feel sad, frustrated, and sorry for ourselves is not a bad thing, one of the most important steps moving forward is to find a way to channel these bad news into follow-throughs and become that game changer. And I would say that entrepreneurial thinking has actually taught me how to do that in a pretty simple way. Keep observing, keep reflecting, and keep learning about the world we live in. Make that an ongoing habit. And well, I cannot predict the future, but I still believe really strongly that practicing these can actually lead you to stumble upon an excellent idea at some point in your lives. Moving on to my next point, I believe that entrepreneurial thinking is a necessity because we need more faith in the human potential. And I make this point because part of me began to question the effectiveness of our education system as I grew older. And that's because I genuinely feel that most curricula have been designed to not provide students with the permission to think. Rather, they have been structured as a body of knowledge that students need to memorize and just regurgitate during an exam, only for it to be all forgotten hours later. And since the world we live in is constantly changing, I actually found myself becoming more and more supportive of this notion that we shouldn't be expecting the younger generations to solve the problems the way we do, nor expect them to implement one optimal solution to addressing a specific problem. I think we can do better than that. Instead, I hope that I can one day be part of a system that encourages students to invent more options to tackle the same challenges. So this brings me to say that entrepreneurial thinking is so important in this context because you got to invest hope in other people. And this is a hope or a belief that your students are capable of challenging constraints. A belief that people are far more capable than they think they are. Finally, after having only left the education system about a year ago, I must admit that I entered the real world having been accustomed to rules and many pre-packaged structures. So getting thrown into society like that was definitely a very confusing and scary experience because after all, there isn't any set blueprint on how to succeed and lead a happier life, or at least I wasn't aware of one. Eventually, learning to think like an entrepreneur has actually helped me to better navigate through life's maze of ambiguity. In fact, entrepreneurial thinking has actually pushed me to unlearn a lot of things that I didn't realize school has taught me. For instance, I used to actually see failure as not an option or pretty much a death wish rather than a necessary path to success. I also thought that I had to rely on authority for thoughts and interpretations, so learning how to have my own opinions and defending them felt like a completely foreign concept to me. But more importantly, practicing entrepreneurial thinking made me realize that we can create our own games and let our personal initiatives drive us forward instead of worrying about what other people think of us. To some degree, I would even suggest that entrepreneurship is some form of self-expression because it practically involves trying to step beyond some known boundaries, whether it is one that is set by society or one that is set by ourselves. And at this point in our lives, everyone is starting to prioritize authenticity. So come to think about it, entrepreneurship can be one excellent way for us to showcase our originality. And just before I end this video, I just thought of also sharing my belief that it really takes quite literally a village to raise an entrepreneurial thinker, with very few being able to succeed completely on their own. Reason for that? Well, if you're trying to really maximize the value you're able to create, you gotta always be connecting your thinking, resources, and work to people. In fact, contrary to this popular belief that good entrepreneurship is all about killing the competition, I would actually propose that the role of conversation and collaboration are actually non-negotiables in entrepreneurial thinking. You definitely need to work with people if you need to answer questions such as what sort of problems do they have? How are we going to help them with that? Or how are we going to get people to just like and trust us in the first place? Or even things like who could we potentially work with in order to create this solution we are dreaming of? This is how entrepreneurial thinking works, and mind you, it works perfectly well and is extremely applicable beyond the business world. Till then, I hope that this video has been helpful to you in one way or another. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. If you enjoyed it, do consider hitting the like, subscribe, and bell icon. And honestly, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below whether you agree or disagree with my points and why you would say so. And if you're interested, I have made another video where I share my thoughts about why I believe that our grades from school or university quite literally don't define us. So do check that out if you can, and I shall see you in my next video. Bye bye!